Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, folks. Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. It is Wednesday, and yes, that means we have the luxury of speaking with the wonderful Anna Kelly. How you doing, Anna?
I'm doing great. So great to be here as always on Wednesday mornings.
Yes. We look forward to it. The audience loves you, so thank you for giving us time every week. We greatly appreciate it. Topic number one of three today. I want to share with you kind of an initial slide I did for a real estate meetup yesterday. Right. You and I both get invited to speak at these all the time, which is awesome. We love giving back. But something I added to this slide, which I've never done before, and hence I want to share it with you to get your feedback, is I always want to know more about the speaker, right? Because everybody comes in usually with, a slant, right? If you hear Peter Schiff speak, he's always gold. Gold's the only thing you buy. Everything else is terrible. You hear a crypto guy, crypto's everything. If you hear a real estate person, they may be real estate or syndication. Everybody has an opinion. So I thought what I would do is share with you my first slide, because I think this orients on who I am, and I'd love to see what you think. You ready for that?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. So it's just one slide we're going to look at. Here we go. All right, so let me just do a little bit of moving around. So we have the most real estate on my computer. Can you see this slide?
I can.
Excellent. So it will build. Again, these are things that I believe, and again, they were slide number one, orientating the audience. So first off, I believe most people overcomplicate real estate investing. They almost want it to be harder than I think it is.
Yes.
You think that's true?
I do.
Awesome. Okay.
Very true.
I believe most new investors don't understand a buy box, let alone have a tight focus. And thus, I think April Crossley talks butterflies. I think you talk rabbits or squirrels. Right. They're all over the map. They don't stay focused for, let alone for a day or a week or a month. And thus they don't really get anywhere. They're stuck in the mud.
Absolutely. You've got to pick a lane, stay in it for a while, put blinders on, get really good at that before you think about hopping over into another lane in a different type of real estate.
Yeah. The blinders is really important, because if you're in the game, if you tell people what's going on, they're going to throw their widget, their thing at you. And you just have to be that horse and go, not yet.
Absolutely.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
I believe when people share complicated math, it could be hiding risk, right? There's lots of assumptions. And if you have to beat up a spreadsheet so hard in multiple tabs and all of these things, that, that sometimes could be hiding risk, especially for new investors.
Yes. Especially in large multifamily apartment syndications with lots of different waterfalls and splits.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. If you're a new investor and you're walking in and getting you're accredited and you're getting your first email saying you want to be a part of this, and the worksheet's like 17 tabs long and all these assumptions and vocabulary that you don't know, you should probably look at that as risk. It's not that it's a bad deal, but it's at least risky for you. If you can't understand it, be careful.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Here's one. This is something I truly believe. So it'll be interesting what you think. I believe real estate investing is a skill. And because it's a skill, it can be learned by anyone. You'll be different degrees at it, because some people are naturally inclined, but because it's a skill and not a natural ability, everybody can learn real estate investing.
Absolutely. So true. And the reason that most people overcomplicate it is because it's something new, and anything new is initially going to seem overwhelming because it's just over your head. You don't know what you don't know. But if you start small and just, take the tried and true path of truly one rental at a time, it's not that hard. It's not that complicated. It can be a hard journal, but it's really not that complicated. And just a matter of committing to the journey and committing to learn what you need to kind of sharpen the iron and get better at what you're doing.
Love it. I totally agree. I believe 20 minutes a day beats 4 hours on the weekend. I can't believe people fight me on this. They're like, no, Michael, you're asking for 20 minutes a day, which is 140 minutes or 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm going to give you 4 hours on Saturday. You know what, Michael? I'm so good. I'm going to give you 4 hours on Saturday and Sunday. I'm like, dude, I will smoke you. I will beat you every time, 20 minutes a day versus, weekend effort. What do you think?
I have to process this one. I kind of think it depends.
Okay.
I think daily disciplined action that is habitual really creates strength, right? So having something you make yourself do every day, it will build the habit where it becomes second nature and you're always doing it. Where if you only kind of do it as a nice afterthought on the weekend, I think you're likely to let other things get in the way and not do it. So from that perspective, I think you're right on. What I would just, challenge is if some people really don't have, much time in their day because they've got a lot of things. I think back to when I was working 80 hours a week. Most days I made myself spend an hour a day. Absolutely. If you miss a day though, don't make an excuse. Tack it onto the weekend and make sure that you get it done in at least a weekly block. So, don't let the lack of time on any given day keep you from moving forward. At least time chunk it for where you've got an open weekend. But if you're not doing something every day, you don't create the habits. And I think the other reason I do like this idea is because deals right now in a seller's market, if you don't make an offer the same day, you're missing the boat. So the reason that you're going to get ahead and smoke them is because every single day you see the new offers and you can make a decision that day.
Bingo.
Waiting till the weekend's going to miss.
That's exactly where I'm going. Because again, these all tie together for me, right? This one here ties with number 2. My buy box for new investors that are just starting, it's 20 to 40 active listings. You can get through that every day, right? You're on your phone. There are times during the day where you just pull up the search and be done. And it's exactly that. If you're only looking Saturday, there are 6 days where opportunities are coming on that you may never see.
Yes. Yeah. So true.
Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I do believe that sometimes people come into this. I'm sure you hear them all the time. My goal is 100. I'm like, great. How many do you have? 0. Well, let's set a goal of getting to 1 or maybe 4. I think a lot of new investors, especially the ones at 0, I think if they just set 1 or 4 as their goal, I think they'll have a lot more success. I see too many people talk about 100 or heaven forbid 1,000.
Yes.
And it just nothing happens.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that there are those people, especially, really young single guys that are getting started that go, I'm going for the moon. I'm going for it all. I'm not going to waste my time on small stuff. And they really don't have much to lose, right? They don't have a family yet. They don't have a strong income yet. So they kind of jump in the larger stuff. And there's a place for that. Sure. But I think most people, and I've talked to, and you've talked to literally hundreds, if not a couple thousand people at different events and whatnot. Sure. Most people struggle with that level of confidence because they're too busy with other things. And they think, this can't happen for me. That's too big. And if the bar is way, way, way up here to someone that's never even, bought anything, maybe not even a primary home, it just becomes too overwhelming and it becomes analysis paralysis, fear of failure, and then they don't take the steps to those big deals. So, I just talked to somebody today who, hasn't gotten started, in a big way and felt very kind of deflated. And I was like, just buy the first one.
Yeah.
You have enough money to buy one.
Yeah.
No, you don't have enough money to buy a multi-unit. Just take a little bit and buy a single rental property. Yeah. Because taking those small actions, Michael, it builds the confidence that, wow, I did it once. And if you have one rental property, you're ahead of the vast majority of the population that has absolute no idea. Yeah. So just taking the action and having one proves to yourself that you can do it. And you gain the confidence by doing. And once you've done one and you're like, wow, that was so much easier than I thought it would be for most of us, right?
Yeah.
You do the next one and you learn a little bit more each time. And after you have a few, it's like, wow, your vision expands, your goals expand because you figure out what you're capable of and you have the confidence to take down more.
Awesome. Totally agree. It's kind of on that kick, getting on the property ladder is key. And I'll just build this next one. And something I have seen a lot that none of these I have experience with, but people have done them, right? House hacking, 9th grade dropout on my channel on Tuesdays. That's how he got started. 203K loans. People don't realize Meet Kevin started with a 203K loan. Roommates. I talked to a 29-year-old who started at 23 and, he's now worth millions of dollars. And downsizing, you downsized, right? At part of their journey. People realize that getting on the property ladder is key. And it doesn't have to be the traditional way, 20% down, right? It's amazing how many people think it takes this huge, 20% down to get started. There are ways. to get on this in even more ways, right? And I have a mortgage guy that comes on later today. Last week, he told us about a 5% down, so 95% LTV for people at 80% of the area income could get into a fourplex. I mean, they're trying. So it is worth it. Do the effort, do the research. Don't just tell yourself you can't because you've talked yourself into that. There are plenty of people who got on the property ladder in unusual or different ways. Go figure it out. It is so worth it.
Absolutely, 100%. I have done 3 of the 4 of those. I house hacked, I had roommates, I downsized, I moved in with in-laws. I took 401k loans to buy properties, credit cards, you name it, because the key to really building long-term wealth, I mean, yes, getting on the property ladder and getting started, but not making excuses and saying, I don't know how, or I can't, or I don't have enough money. Start saying, how can I, and make a commitment to learning different creative ways to getting started. And there's lots of different creative ways to get started. And that really is the key is getting creative, figuring out what you don't know, and be willing to try something until you figure it out.
Yeah. I'm really lucky. There's a gentleman named Todd Baldwin who's been featured on CNBC Millionaire. He started at 23. He saved up $18,000 or $19,000, bought a $500,000 house in Seattle, and had roommates, 5 roommates. It was I think he said it was a 6-bedroom house. It means he had 5 roommates. Fast forward 6 years, he's just sold the house. That 18 grand turned into $300,000, and he made $25,000 a year, and lived for free. I mean, powerful stuff.
Smart. Yeah.
Okay, last one. Getting your money right is step 1, right? Understand needs versus wants. You have to move backwards to move forward. Sometimes this was a big one for Olivia and I. We were spending everything, and we had to go backwards because, again, we had 40 grand when our journey started, which may be more than some, but less than most. But unless we started living on less, we wouldn't have our, the ability to save and keep moving forward.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I say master money or money will master you, right? You have to figure it out. You have to learn to budget. You have to learn to live below your means and learn to put resources together to expand your means. Yeah.
Anything else that kind of jumps out at you that you might want to add if this was something you were going to talk about?
I would just say, grit and determination beats knowledge any day. You can know all these things. You can hear it. You can say, yes, I identify with it. But, being interested versus being committed is different. And you have to be fully committed to going through the challenging, hard things that are going to build wealth for the long term. Yeah. And, if you have grit and you have determination like no other, then nothing that is thrown your way, you can't overcome. So for me, I would say I resonate with all those things. And I would just add, be committed, not interested, and committed to the level that you're willing to, go through whatever it takes and with grit and determination until you're successful.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Well said. Definitely part of both our stories. I think you're right. I think that's a great addition. Anna, how can people follow you and be part of your world?
You can follow me here every Wednesday. You can follow me on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram at Anna REI Mom Kelly. And if you're interested in passive investing in multifamily apartment buildings and you're an accredited investor, you can check out my website at greaterpurposecapital.com.
Yep. Do yourself a favor. Go to greaterpurposecapital.com. Check it out. See what she's doing. It's amazing stuff. Thanks, Anna.